All right, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Real Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. Jota, and in this video, I would like to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes talking about what it's, in my opinion, going to be the next Real Madrid, the thorough reconstruction of a team that really needs a lot of changes. A lot of changes must be done. And let me tell you that this summer, in my opinion, will be so busy in Real Madrid offices and a lot of work that has to be done when it comes to signings, when it comes to departures, when it comes to financial stuff. So let's get a deep dive into it. Let's just start with the details and let's speak a little bit more about what, in my opinion, is going to be the next Real Madrid. All the changes that have to be done and all the signings, departures, and all the stuff. So, for example, let's get started with what I think is the most important question right now, because it's a question that is in the air, but nobody knows the answer. I'm talking about the future of Zinedine Zidane. Okay, so what is going to happen to Zinedine Zidane? Is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? What do I think about that? What the newspapers and journalists and people in general are speaking about regarding to the future of Zinedine Zidane? Okay, from my understanding or latest news that we have regarding to the future of Zinedine Zidane is that according to Onda Cero, is a radio station in Spain, Real Madrid, some of the board members or maybe Florentino Perez asked to Zidane not to say anything right after the game against Villarreal. And that is the reason why Zinedine Zidane didn't say anything after the game about his future. He just said, I don't know if you all know, but he said, okay, I will talk to the club. In these days, I will be talking to them because I still have a contract and I still have one more year left. So I will talk to them. And that is pretty much what he said. He didn't unveil a possible departure or any other plan for the future. So the only thing we can do is just speculate a little bit. So in my opinion, Zinedine Zidane will stay in Real Madrid if Florentino Perez is willing to offer him a good project. And when I speak about a good project, when I say good project, I'm talking about signings. That's number one reason. Kylian Mbappe and other players signing for Real Madrid, powerful players. Top players, big names, things like that. That is number one condition, in my opinion, for Zinedine Zidane to stay in Real Madrid. If Florentino Perez really does what Zinedine Zidane wants, then we might see to the French coach staying in Real Madrid. That is the number one. Because over the last 2 years, and although we signed two players like Militao, Eden Hazard, Luka Jovic, and all the stuff, most of the players that Zinedine Zidane asked to Florentino to sign for Real Madrid or Zinedine Zidane wanted to sign for Real Madrid, they didn't. Because sometimes they couldn't, sometimes it was the club who really didn't put a good price or Real Madrid couldn't match the price and all the stuff. For different reasons, Zinedine Zidane saw how a list of players that he had for Real Madrid, we couldn't make it. We couldn't make it possible. Florentino couldn't make it possible. For example, I'm thinking right now in Paul Pogba. He was about to sign with Real Madrid, but Manchester United was asking, the asking price was insane, completely insane. And Real Madrid couldn't match that price and couldn't put the money on the table. So these kind of things cannot happen again if we want Zidane to stay in Real Madrid. That is number one. Number two, the players that Zinedine Zidane considered that might leave Real Madrid, they have to leave. That is the number two or the second reason for Zidane to stay in Real Madrid. I mean, if he doesn't want to count anymore with some players, like, for example, Gareth Bale or maybe Luka Jovic or Mariano Diaz, they have to leave. And Florentino Perez will have to try his best, will have to give everything he got in order for them to leave Real Madrid. That is the number two reason. The second reason, right? And the number three, and maybe the most important, is that Zinedine Zidane sees himself prepared and ready to go and full energy and full power to face off another season dealing with the press. In my opinion, that is the big deal for Zinedine Zidane. Every time he has to come up to the press conference, I mean, he said that yesterday. I'm really fucked up. I mean, I'm really sick and tired of all this whole thing. And it's pretty much because of the press and all the criticism and all the stuff. So if he sees himself prepared for another season full of pressure, I mean, in the spotlight all the time, over and over again, then I think that Zinedine Zidane might stay in Real Madrid. Right? So that is everything about Zinedine Zidane. What I'm thinking on one side, and on the other hand, what the newspapers and media are saying right now. I've been gathering all this information for you all and try to draw a picture, a big picture about the Zinedine Zidane's future for Real Madrid. So let's move on and let's get started talking about the squad, about the players, about the signings, about the departures, about all this stuff. Okay, so for example, when it comes to signings, and let's start better talking about the defense line, the back line. What is going to happen to players like Sergio Ramos? What is going to happen to players like Rafa Varane, Nacho Fernandez, Militao? What is going to happen? What is next for them? Odriozola. Nobody knows what is going to happen, but let me tell you something. Sergio Ramos, maybe the most important question that we have in the air right now. What is going to happen to him? Okay, in my opinion, Sergio Ramos, it's over. Sergio Ramos' career in Real Madrid is over right now. Josep Pedrerol said like 2 months ago, he unveiled a conversation between Florentino Perez and Sergio Ramos. And the last thing Florentino Perez heard from Sergio Ramos, he was pretty much, okay, you can plan ahead without me. So Florentino Perez, what he is doing right now is planning ahead without Sergio Ramos. So that's why we didn't hear anything about a new contract, a new renewal offer or something like that. We didn't hear about that at all. So in my opinion, the next week, we will see how Sergio Ramos unveiled his future. Whether in PSG or Sevilla or any other team, but in my opinion, Sergio Ramos will leave. And it's okay. It's okay because every time you want to open a door, you have to close another door. And maybe his door must be shut down and right quick. That is the first thing I wanted to speak about. The second one is about Rafa Varane. Okay, he is, in my opinion, less problematic because apparently both of them, the player and the club, wants to separate their ways. Rafa Varane apparently or allegedly is looking for another challenge, adventure, whatever you want to call it, in another team, in another country. So he might be okay leaving Real Madrid, and at the same time, Real Madrid is okay making some money with him because this is the last year contract and he doesn't want to lose the player for free the next year. So I think in this situation of Rafa Varane, both of them are okay in this kind of, divorce. So I don't think it's going to be any problematic. And as long as we find a team for Rafa Varane, whether Manchester United, which apparently is the best positioned right now to sign the Rafa Varane or using the Rafa Varane in the deal for Kylian Mbappe, both of them are good options for Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? Because we can make a lot of money with that. So that's not going to be any, problematic thing. And then, if we keep talking about that, the other big question popping up is about Nacho Fernandez. I mean, as you know, this has been the best season of Nacho Fernandez in Real Madrid. In my opinion, he should stay, but he will talk to the club because he's in the last year of his contract. And of course, he has a lot of offers out there from Juventus, Italy, and I think that there are a bunch more. But in my opinion, if Nacho Fernandez wants to stay in Real Madrid, I think that, I'm okay with that. He's a very good player. And the other guy, the other player, Eder Militao, what can I say, man? What a discovery this season. He has made the best season since he arrived to Madrid. I mean, he has been the best player in the defense, in my opinion. He has replaced perfectly good to Rafa Varane and Sergio Ramos. And in my opinion, considering he's a very young player and he has all the future ahead, in my opinion, he should be in the top position in the defense, in the center backs for Real Madrid the next 10 years. That is my opinion. And considering as well that David Alaba is coming up, they might be the perfect couple for Real Madrid. And then if you go to the wingers, to the left wing back, the left winger and the right winger, then we have to speak about Odriozola and Miguel Gutierrez. In my opinion, these guys are the future of Real Madrid. For example, Odriozola has flipped over completely his situation in Real Madrid because everybody was expecting for him to leave. But now, if you consider the last 3 to 4 games he has been playing and replacing to Carvajal and Lucas Vázquez and all the stuff, Odriozola has performed incredibly good, decent enough to stay in Real Madrid, and is super young. So I don't think that Real Madrid wants to get rid of this player. Okay, so in the left wing, in my opinion, Miguel Gutierrez, it's going to be another player of the first team of Real Madrid. I don't see this guy coming down back to the second team, to Real Madrid Castilla. In my opinion, this guy, especially if Marcelo leaves, Real Madrid should keep to Ferland Mendy, number 1, and Miguel Gutierrez, number 2. Because Miguel Gutierrez has a lot of potential, is one of the most prominent left wingers we may have for the future, right? So in my opinion, Miguel Gutierrez has to stay, no matter what. Okay, so that is regarding to the defense. Now let's move on and let's go to the midfield. What do you guys think about the midfield? In my opinion, this is pretty easy. Because although we have to keep in the team to Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, these players, as we have seen in the last games, these players need replacements and substitutes and younger players to get their backs. I mean, in my opinion, although Luka Modric especially Luka Modric is a very talented player, he has a lot of expertise, and every time he runs out of energy, he can use his expertise to go ahead to get over it and still plays very good. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, although he has a lot of expertise and all the stuff, he needs to play the 50% of the season. He's not a player anymore for the 90 minutes every single game, every 2-3 days playing, and then the national team, and then Real Madrid and all the stuff. I don't think Luka Modric is ready to play every single thing. That's why we have to recover back to Martin Odegaard. I mean, Martin Odegaard has to be in the squad the next year. He's the future. And he was supposed to be the perfect substitute for Luka Modric. You know what I'm saying? He has to become the brain. He has to become the most creative player in Real Madrid when it comes to ideas, plan, step ahead, think ahead, and all the stuff. We need players like Martin Odegaard. You know what I'm saying? But I'm okay keeping to Luka Modric in the team. He will provide to the youngsters with expertise and experience and all the stuff. So I'm okay with that. Casemiro, I'm super okay with Casemiro staying in Real Madrid, of course. I think that Shape-wise, it's incredibly good, 100% okay. So there's no reason for him to, be replaced or there's no other reason for signing another players who can substitute to Casemiro for playing the 50% of the season or something like that. I mean, in my opinion, Camavinga is not necessary anymore because we also have to Antonio Blanco, and Antonio Blanco can play, every time we need to dosify a little bit to Casemiro, then we can use to Antonio Blanco. So in my opinion, Casemiro can stay in Real Madrid. The other problem is Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos is very unique. I mean, the long balls, he's the guy for the long balls, long passes, and there's no any other player who can really do or able to do the same things Toni Kroos provides to Real Madrid with. You know what I'm saying? So Toni Kroos, in my opinion, right now is indisputable, is irreplaceable in Real Madrid. So there's no any other young player who can do the same. So that's why I think that we have to keep Toni Kroos at least one more season, right? It's a little bit different to Luka Modric. It's similar, but it's not but it's not the same. And then if we move on and we go to the attack, that is, well, in my opinion, this is the most important thing that we have to deal with in the construction, in the build-up of the next team, the next Real Madrid for the next season, for the next decade. The attack of the Real Madrid has to change completely. We need to sell a lot of players that, in my opinion, got stuck in the same level. They didn't take off at all. And they can no longer stay in the promises, in the prospect situation for the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying? They have to consolidate themselves. I mean, in my opinion, they had to consolidate themselves this season. This was the season for Marco Asensio to excel. This was the season for Vinicius Jr. to excel. But none of them did it. None of them succeeded in Real Madrid. Actually, the feeling that we have regarding to Marco Asensio and Vinicius Jr. is completely different. We know that these guys have a lot of potential, but at the same time, what we feel is that they are not ready to go. They are not ready to take over. They are not ready to excel. They are not ready to become the most prominent attackers in the soccer spectrum. I mean, they are good guys, good players, not bad for being super young, but they definitely don't have the level that, for example, players like Mbappe or Erling Haaland have. They are in my opinion, they are way down. They are way back versus, Mbappe and Haaland and all these players. So in my opinion, they cannot stay in Real Madrid. We have to look for another, way for them. Maybe a loan, give them on loan, or sell him, I don't know. But in my opinion, you cannot use these guys anymore. I mean, you cannot line up these guys anymore. That is my opinion. So they have to be replaced with super powerful, with super big names, with super big stars like Kylian Mbappe, number one. Of course, Erling Haaland, number two. And for example, if we cannot go ahead and sign to Erling Haaland this year, then we have to find another right wing for Real Madrid. But I'm talking about a top right winger. I mean, I'm not talking about, okay, let's put someone like, for example, Brahim Diaz or Take Kubo or any other, it's okay, or maybe Rodrigo. No. I mean, if you want to play with a 4-3-3, or let me tell you something. 4 years ago, in the first stage of Zinedine Zidane in Real Madrid, he could play with 4-3-3 because the three that he had in the attack, they were Gareth Bale in his prime, in his peak, Karim Benzema, and Cristiano Ronaldo. That way you can use three attackers. But with these attackers that we have right now, Marco Asensio, Vinicius Jr., and Benzema, you cannot build up a, super reliable, aggressive attack at all. You need, if you want to play with three attackers, you need three top forwarders, three top attackers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Karim Benzema cannot do everything by himself, completely alone. In the game against Villarreal, we could see Karim Benzema moving, shifting sideways, going to the left, going to the right, trying to connect with the other players. And I mean, that is not acceptable. You need a forward, a striker. And that is allegedly, or the role, the paper that Benzema has to play in Real Madrid right now. So if you want Benzema in the number 9 position, in the striker position, then he has to be escorted by two super powerful players. One is Kylian Mbappe, and the other one might be another, kind of Jadon Sancho or something like that, maybe. I don't know, but super powerful players. That way you can build up a super attack, really confident, really reliable, and, very powerful. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the moment for us to say, okay, we're okay with that, we're good with that. No, we're not good with that. We're not good with that. We have to be fussy with the players, with the tactical formations, with all the stuff, but we need top players. That's number one. That is the other thing why in my opinion, Raul Gonzalez would be even better than Zinedine Zidane, because if he has to put the player on the bench because he's not in shape or something like that, he will. He will not hesitate. Every time he sees a player out of shape or who is not giving everything he got or something like that, he will put him on the bench or even out of the squad or something like that. But you need top players to replace these other, secondary players. That is the thing. So that's why, in my opinion, Real Madrid will reconstruct completely the team and build up a team for not the next season, but the next decade. And of course, if we can go ahead and sign to Erling Haaland for the next year, it's even better. It's going to be even better. So when it comes to squad, the coach, the plan, and all the stuff, that is, in my opinion, what we have to do. Try to sign Mbappe number 1. Try to sell a bunch of players. Isco, Marcelo, Mariano, Ramos, Varane, all these players have to be out of the squad and right quick and must be sold. Eden Hazard, of course. Eden Hazard is no longer a player for Real Madrid or even any other super big club, big team. He's not ready at all. So Eden Hazard has to be sold, and Mariano and Gareth Bale and all these players have to be out of the squad and right quick. Because we have to save money. That is the first thing. So that is my perspective, of, what I see for Real Madrid this summer and the reconstruction and the plan and all this stuff. But I would like to know your opinion, guys. So now comment in the section below, and of course subscribe my channel, Real Madrid Hub.